We trust. We breathe. We trust. We breathe. We trust. We breathe. We trust. We breathe. We breathe.
Welcome, family. So this is Miss Josephine, and my name is Burke, and we are located in the San Juans, a beautiful island called Orcas. And we are grateful to have the opportunity to share peace through music, to share authentic vibrational frequencies from our heart space to your space. We are the directors of the Peace Through Music Foundation, which just started this last year, at the end of the year, Q4, and we're just jumping into the big world. And we're so grateful. We're a Washington State nonprofit. So grateful to be sharing energy that is musical, that is peaceful with the world. And we're so grateful to be able to be producing a larger gathering this summer called the Northwest Herbal Fair, happening the third weekend in August in the Olympic Peninsula here in Washington. And we're so grateful to be able to go out into the world and share this good, beautiful love and music. So thank you for doing what you do every day.
Dawn's early light awakens the deep. Rebirthing comes alchemically. A return to innocence, records of time. Can light emerge on the inside? the arms of humanity. Breathing in sync, Genesis speaks. Heaven and earth will collide. Rocky inside, rocky soil, rocky and mud. Feeling an anchor, planted yet free. She is the morning dove, and we are the tree.
So wherever you are in the world today, friends, we say hello from our heart in our PC Music studio here in Orcas. So this would also be a time if there's any heads that sound-wise, we're trying to just dial it in here, technology, doing our best.
Sounds beautiful.
Thank you. Perfect.
And it's live streaming to like 10 platforms.
Okay.
Wow.
Hi, world.
Well, thank you, beautiful beings out there in the universe, wherever this is reaching you. We're really grateful for this platform, for Regenerative, for Design Science Studio, as a way for us to amplify our hearts and our mission and these vibrations. And after 2 very deep years of being in an artistic hibernation, feeling that that regeneration, the revivification of our souls, of our spirit mission, to offer this to the planet at this time. And so we're so grateful for this platform. And now we're moving into a few of our conscious soul heart songs, and we hope you join us. They're usually easy to sing along. And thank you for being here.
When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your love so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. soul that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice, and you rejoice, and you rejoice. When you were born, you smiled, and the world smiled too. Live your life so that when you smile, the world smiles along with you. Along with you. Along with you. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice, and you rejoice, and you rejoice. When you were born, you cried, and the world
Thank you, beautiful ones. Many of you may be familiar with that song. It's kind of in a revivify style, but that's a very common circle song and Cherokee proverb that's sung in hospice, and it came to us and we gave it our revivify touch, and we're so grateful for the origins of that song, and it's the beautiful way that it's circled around the planet. And that's a song that we feel whenever we play to a large audience, that's the one that many people have heard and can sing along with and resonate with. So grateful to share it with you today. This next piece,
oh my gosh, a world debut right here. And it's called Dancing with the Sun. We hope you like it. What you gonna find there in the light? Well, just let it shine all through the night. What you gonna find there in the dark? Releasing your fears by lighting a spark. We are love, beating with our hearts. We are love, beating with our hearts. We are light, shining from our eyes. We are light, shining from our eyes. Oh. Just let it shine all through the night. And what you gonna find there in the dark? Reducing our fears by lighting a spark. We are breath breathing from our chest. We are breath breathing from our chest. We are one dancing with the sun. We are one dancing with the sun. Dancing with the sun. Dancing with the sun. We are love, beating with our hearts. We are light, shining from our eyes. We are breath, breathing from our chest. We are one, dancing with the sun. Dancing with the sun. Dancing with the sun. Dancing with the sun. What you gonna find there in the dark? Releasing your fears by lighting a spark. And what you gonna find there in the light? Just let it shine. Just let it shine. Thanks for letting us get that one out. Wow, it's good to share some new songs. Okay, so this next song is called The Gift, and it truly was a gift. My mom passed 2 years ago, and before she passed, on a night before she left this planet, I channeled a song that just came through verbatim. I just picked up the guitar, these words came through, and Josephine just happened to capture it on the phone, and we worked it out. And the song is called The Gift, and I feel like it was a gift from my mother, and it just feels really good to sing it and to share it with you now. So, The Gift.
From our hearts to yours. Ah, deep belly breath. Ah, way, oh, yeah, la, la, la,
Can you truly believe in the gift of finally receiving the moment when you let love light in again?
oh, yeah, hey, yeah.
Find your way, looking for a better day. Well, here it is. Simple pleasures knocking at your door. What are they there for? What are they there for? Oh, I tell you, friend, I am listening with my heart and I can't find a way. Allegiance to those fires burning. Tell my heart again I am so free. A willingness to wonder why those emotions they're eating me. La 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 Can you truly believe in the gift of finally receiving the moment when you let love light in Find your way, looking for a better day. Well, here it is. Well, here it is. Well, here it Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama.
Thank you, Great Spirit, for letting us be a channel for these songs and prabha mantras to come through. We're so grateful. Thank you for all your beautiful comments. We're seeing them pop up, and we're trying to keep an eye on the camera. But it means so much to us to like feel the energy in real time. Something that I know many of us who are born to share really need that reciprocal energy to come back towards us and to create this circular energy of reciprocity, right? Of all sharing our gifts and feeling seen for our gifts. And this is such a blessing. Regenerative. This amazing network of visionaries. It truly feeds our soul to be with you. So take a deep breath. Receive a deep breath into the belly. And we're moving into a little handpan interlude. And receiving that deep breath, as deep as you can go. Filling the belly, feeling the back body, feeling the side body, feeling fullness of a breath.
time in our collective hearts. This time that Mother Gaia awaits our hearts connecting with her.
From two to oneness.
Take that deep, deep breath in. Grounding ourselves in this beautiful, perfect moment. often Josephine and I hear that the vibrational frequencies and the power of music just as a tool for change, for healing, as a tool to share, a tool to connect, a tool to build community. Music is a powerful vehicle to move us closer together, to transport us far and beyond. So what a gift, right? What a gift, music.
And we truly believe that this instrument in particular, the handpan, is here on Earth at this exact time and is getting shared and spread around the planet for the evolution of our consciousness, that these harmonics in their natural ratios that mimic that of Gaian ratios, golden ratios, harmonic ratios, reflect our wholeness. That is what this instrument is reminding us, is of our wholeness. And I just feel so grateful. We feel so grateful to steward many of these instruments and to get to share them. And if you have one in your life or with a friend, bring it out and share it with friends and family. These vibrations, these harmonics activate people in incredible ways, bring them to new states of awareness and new states of consciousness that will ultimately help this evolution, this incredible birthing process that we're experiencing right now.
Indeed. And if you happen to be looking for a handpan, do reach out. We've got a few looking for new homes. Thank you, Josephine, for sharing that beautiful prayer song. What a gift.
Roxy says, me. All right, Roxy, we talk afterwards. I got you, girl.
We also have Native American cedar flutes. I give lessons for the flute. Josephine gives lessons to ladies of all perspectives around the world via handpan or via Zoom sessions. So
okay, I gotta stop.
Okay, great. We're gonna stop talking. We're gonna start playing again.
Thank you, beautiful ones. Thank you for your intention and attention. It means so much to us to have your presence here. We know the screen can be a distracting place, but we're coming into a new way of being, right? Where it's a portal to possibility and connection.
Hey, can you hear the guitar? Anybody out there with a face on the screen, just nod your head if you can hear that guitar.
Says yes.
Okay, great.
Beautiful. Thank you all. We really appreciate. We are our own sound people, so we need you.
This next song is called Touching Base with Freedom.
Hey, hey, hey. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, touching base with freedom, a simple call to now, a voyage past this empty space that filters through the clouds. We're touching base with freedom, a simple call to now, a voyage past this empty space that filters through the clouds. A gentle glance so full of grace, a voyage past this sacred space, a landing zone so full of spirit. We open up so we all can hear it. Hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, oh, whoa, whoa. The opening doorway, the blossoming new way. Hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, oh, whoa, whoa. The opening doorway.
embrace of freedom, a simple calling out, a voyage past this empty space that filters through the clouds. We'll touch and embrace of freedom, a simple calling out, a voyage past this empty space that filters through the clouds. A gentle glance so full of grace, a voyage past this sacred space, a landing zone so full of spirit. We open up so we all can hear it. Hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, oh, oh, oh. The opening doorway, the blossoming new way. Yeah, yeah, hey, oh, oh, oh. The opening doorway, blossoming new way. Yeah. The opening doorway, the blossoming new way. Yeah, yeah, hey, oh, oh, oh. The opening doorway. Touching base with freedom, a simple call now, a voyage past this empty space that filters through the clouds. Oh, so it looks like we're getting close to the end of our set for today. I think we just have a few more minutes.
5 more minutes,
We'd
Rox.
love to close with
Yeah, I don't know where Lydia is though. She's not here yet. So I'm gonna ask her. I don't know.
We can be here until she's here. That's fine.
I would not be sad about that. I don't think any of us would be either.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're going to transition back to the handpan to close out today's set. Again, we're so grateful to be here and share with you today, wherever you are around the planet. We feel so grateful. The one strange thing about technology is it allows us to connect around the world very quickly and very instantaneously. So what a blessing that we are all over the place in our own communities doing this great work and sharing these great gifts, and that we can be here today in this moment. So again, so many blessings and so much gratitude to be part of this community today.
And thank you for your beautiful comments. We look forward to reading those, and just yeah, we are so grateful. Our music is on all streaming platforms under my artist name, Jocean, Jocean, J in front of the ocean. And there's a lot more music coming soon. So please be in touch, and we look forward to sharing more of these heart vibrations with you.
Absolutely.
Children of the earth, come home. 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 Feel your hearts beat and train with hers. Feel your heart beat in train with hers. Feel yourself in the earthen womb. Feel your heart beat in train with hers. Children of the earth, come home. No matter how far you've roamed. Children of the earth, come home. No matter how far you roam. Feel your feet root so deep. Feel your feet root so deep. Feel yourself grow roots like a tree, moving energy. Children of the earth, come home. Children of the earth, come home. No matter how far you roam. No matter how much you've grown. Feel your heart beat and train with hers.
So, how are we doing out there, everybody? How's the flow going? Ready for the next thing, or?
Well,
You. Woo.
I wonder if you might know the next person, you know, before we just throw y'all up here together. Do you
Hey, Lydia.
know each other? Are
Yeah,
you friends?
hi.
Long time no see, sister.
Good to see you on Orcas Island.
Absolutely, yeah. Last time I saw
Hi.
you was at Orchid Song Farm way back in the
Yes.
day, like in 2017. But I've been
Back
following
in
your
the
journey.
day.
So.
Back in
Way
2017.
back when. Yeah, it's good to see you, Lydia.
Me too. Beautiful.
Wow. Thank you both for revivifying us. How wonderful to feel that resonance. And I have to mention that over under the stairwell here in my geodesic dome is one of the first generation hungs, the handpan that came out of the Sabina's workshop in Switzerland about 2000.
Original 2000. I have a 2003 original handpan. Oh my gosh, original hung from that workshop. That's amazing.
Awesome, Mark. That's amazing.
Yeah.
2000.
Such a beautiful instrument. And your songs, your poetry, there's something that stuck with me in one phrase. It's very simple. It is time. It is time. And I want to thank you for that because it is time. Yeah.
Oh.
Mhm. I think it's always good just to let all that sink in from what you're sharing with us. Yeah. Roxy, did you want to, because we're all sitting here just vibrating, right? From this set.
Yeah. Just so much gratitude. Thank you so much for coming and for sharing this beautiful medicine music. And we're on the 8th day of an 11-day summit of this convergence for creators of regenerative futures. And it has been a marathon of amazing perspectives, creative initiatives, lots of learning, lots of celebrating people's incredible commitments and creativity and work, and also looking deeply into some of the systemic issues that we face and bringing and breathing to life some of the potential that is within this regenerative community and movement, and really celebrating all of the different players, and all of you are different key players as well, helping to harmonize back and support the regeneration of ourselves and also of the village and of community. So I'm really grateful that the timing that Lydia was magically available, the one little slot happened to be right now. We know each other. And so that's super magical. So thank you, Revivify, for joining us. And also thank you to Lydia for joining us from Ireland is where you are right now?
I'm in Scotland. I'm in Scotland right now. Yeah.
Amazing.
Surprise. I had to come chase fiddle tunes. Yeah.
That's incredible. I know Mark is prepared to welcome you with care. I just really wanted to pop in and say thank you. We love you. And I wanted to also say, I don't know if you're gonna hang out with us afterwards, but there is also like an earth grieving kind of space that's going to be held by one of the artists. And I feel like
amazing.
Appreciated amongst so much other beauty that's being woven today. So
yeah, so important.
Yeah, love you.
My pleasure. Love you too.
Thanks, Roxy. So Lydia, you know, we get a lot of information of each person that's sharing, and I scanned yours. I'm going to read it, but I'm so touched by the work that you've been doing with who you've been working with. Yeah. So Lydia has studied dedicatedly with deep ecology elder and Buddhist scholar Joanna Macy. What an honor to spend that time with her. She's been working with her for the past 13 years, learning how we can metabolize planetary despair, anxiety, and community traumas into energy for resilience, action, and community healing. She runs the School of Great Turning. I want to be there. And on and offline school that creates access to an education that will empower humanity's life-sustaining legacy. Lydia is also an Iranian, Armenian, American multi-instrumentalist weaving together Southern blues, American roots, and Iranian folk traditions. With her live band, she combines fiddle, banjo, and luscious harmonies to offer a soul folk revival experience. In past, she has collaborated with world-renowned artists such as Climbing Poetry, Rising Appalachia, and Lila June. And you were just beaming there. There you go.
I'm like, that sounds good. Did I really do that?
Amazing.
Yeah. It's
Just
like
to spend that time with Joanna Macy. Wow.
yes. Who, by the way, turns 93 on Sunday. So this
Yeah.
is her birthday week. She's a Taurus because, of course, she is fighting on behalf of the planet. And yeah, she's, I think she means a lot to a lot of us. I'm sure a lot of people here have encountered her work and felt liberated by the permission that she gives to have thoughts, feelings, and to want existential orientation towards what we're going through on the planet right now. I always say we seem to feel more functional when our consciousness feels oriented. So let's not underestimate the power of that. So anyway, I'm here to sing a couple songs, and I hope that these songs can just feed your spirit and make you feel, I think that's part of the power of music. Because you just came from a dreamy scape, I think I'll start with a Persian lullaby because that'll ease us into the music. And I know you can't understand the words, but this song is a Persian lullaby where you're comparing your lover to all of these figures in nature. So you're saying, go to sleep, my sweet-tongued nightingale. Go to sleep, my unopened bud. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. And it's in Farsi. La 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 لای گل باغ بهشتم لای 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 تو بودی سر نوشتم به خواب مونس روحا روونم به خواب بلبل شیرین زبونم لای 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 به خواب جون شیرین راحت دل چو بلبل نغمه زن در ساعت دل به خواب گوهر نسکفته من به خواب گوهر نسکفته من لای 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 دار جان. You can like come off mute and stuff. I like that. I don't mind if you want to. Woo! I miss you. I need to hear you from Scotland.
Turn on your camera. Come on into the space. Let's go.
Jesus Christ. Okay, this is a song called Nothing But the Water by Grace Potter. And I'm going more a cappella today, which is a good challenge for me to really express what I'm trying to say using just my voice. So with your permission, I'm going to give it everything I got. So this is a song called Nothing But the Water. I have seen. And I feel like this song, I feel like this song reminds me of how to face darkness with dignity. I think that's something that if I can remember that, the way to face hardship and darkness with a semblance of dignity, I think it gives me a lot of a compass that I need when I'm lost sometimes. Nothing but the water. I have seen what man can do when the evil lives inside of you. Many are the weak and the strong are few, but with the waters we'll start anew. So won't you take me down to the river? Take me down to the stream. Take me down to the water. We're gonna wash our souls clean. Take me down to the river. Take me down to the lake. Yes, we'll all go together. We're gonna do it for the good Lord's sake. Mm, 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 ooh. Well, I have seen, I have followed so many times for the devil's sweet cunning rhymes. This whole world has brought me pain, but there's hope for us again. So won't you take me down to the levee, take me down to the stream, take me down to the water. We're gonna wash our souls clean. Take me down to the river. Take me down to the lake. Yes, we'll all go together. We're gonna do it for the good Lord's sake. I tried my hand at the Bible, tried my hand at prayer, but now nothing but the water is gonna bring my soul to bear. But now nothing but the water is gonna bring my soul to bear.
Ow! Woo! Damn.
Go to the waters when I don't know what to do. All right, this is a song, and then I have a surprise for the last song. Do I have time, Roxy, or should I just do one more song?
Yeah, you're good. Go for it. You have
Okay.
time. You have 20 minutes.
Okay, this is a blues song called Soul of a Man. It's a fun one. So when I say, I want somebody to tell me, if you want to sing, you can say, I say, answer if you can, I want somebody to tell me. And then you sing, what is the soul of a man? Hi, Brittany. What is the soul of a man? That's your part. So you can sing any of it with me that you want. Well, I want somebody to tell me, answer if you can. I want somebody to tell me, Lord, what is the soul of a man? What is the soul of a man? I saw people gathered talking. I came up just in time. It was a teacher, a doctor, and a lawyer. They said a man ain't nothing but a mind. No, a man ain't nothing but a mind. But you know, Jesus in the temple, the people stood amazed. He was teaching that doctor and the lawyer how to raise a man from the grave. Whoa, how to raise a man from the grave. So I want somebody to tell me, answer if you can. I want somebody to tell me, Lord, what is the soul of a man? What is the soul of a man? Well, I read the Bible often. I try to read it right as far as I can understand. A woman is a burning light. Whoa, a woman is a burning light. You know, I traveled this world over sea and land. I'm telling y'all that my baby, he got the soul of a man. Well, he got the soul of a man. So I want somebody to tell me, answer if you can. I want somebody to tell me, Lord, what is the soul of a man? Whoa, what is the soul of a man? One more time. I want somebody to tell me, answer if you can. I want somebody to tell me, what is the soul of a man? 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 Of a man. Yeah, that was a fun one. All right, do you guys want to sing with some Scottish activists? They're upstairs.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm here. I'm in Scotland. I went and did some work in a Scottish women's prison today, and I'm kind of here on a whim and have met these beautiful people who are hosting me, and one of the women took me to the prison today, and then her friends came over, and he had written a beautiful song, and I was like, oh, I know you're looking at my neck, but just bear with me because I'm walking and carrying lots of instruments. But he wrote this beautiful song, and I was like, I think that's a movement song, and I think we should connect across borders. So, hi. You want to do the song? Yeah. Okay. Here, I gotta set it up quickly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is Anthony Thomas and his family and some friends. Oh, I know you can't see us that well, but I'm with a crew and we're in Scotland, and we're gonna sing you a song to connect us across borders. And just like I always say, the majority of the people you're in collaboration with, you will never meet. because the majority of the people that we're in collaboration with all over the world, oh great, all over the world, you know, like the most of the people, we will never meet them, but we are in collaboration with them. And it's good to make each other visible, because we wouldn't want to invisibilize each other's work. So as many people you can get in here as you want. Amy.
Oh, all right, I'll get up.
All right. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
This is Anthony Thomas. And what's the song called?
Hello.
Okay, the song is called We Are One. Thanks for letting us do this surprise performance.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Woo!
Wait, Amy, come say hi, because they have to hear your
Hi.
accent.
Breathe
Just
in.
you have to
Oh,
say
yeah,
hi.
say hello.
This is a bunch of activists from all over the world.
I'm
Hello.
going to say hello too.
Where are you from?
Welcome to Scotland.
Hi there.
From Glasgow.
We live in Glasgow and we're here to share a
Glasgow.
beautiful song called We Are One, and it's been translated into Gaelic, Scottish Gaelic, and it's called Hashin Comla. So we can do a little bit of the Gaelic as well if you want, but we'll just go with the flow.
Yeah.
All of
Alright.
it. Yeah, bring it. This is amazing. From activist to activist, we are inspired to be with you. Thank you.
Exactly. You might have to play a little louder.
I'm somewhere in the future. I ain't lost, I'm used to. We know what it can be. Pieces all around me.
Pieces all around me.
Oh, I dive in the down. Turn it upside down. Principles intact. Can you picture that? Call on me, baby, when the weather gets cold. And call on you, because it never gets old. I like that. This ain't the last time you've been running through my mind. Replay all the time, memories divine. When you see your for once, we are strong, we are beautiful, we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong. We are beautiful, we are one, for once. We are strong, we are beautiful, we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong, we are beautiful, we are one. I stand below the heavens just to feel the weather. Lay it on my back now. I will never back down. Maybe I'll try not to care. Just stand and see what's there. Principles intact. Can you picture that? Call on me, baby, when the weather gets cold. And call on you, because it never gets old. I like that. This ain't the last time you've been running through my mind. We play all the time, memories divine. The way you see your kind. For once, we are strong, we are beautiful, and we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong, we are beautiful, and we are one. For once, we are strong, we are beautiful, and we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong, we are beautiful, and we are one. For once, we are strong. We are beautiful.
That's the part if you want to sing it.
We're crying out loud.
Everybody join
We
in.
are strong.
Yeah.
We are beautiful. We are one.
Everybody.
For once, we are strong. We are beautiful. We are one. We're crying out loud. Be strong. We are beautiful. We are one.
Aw, thanks everybody. Thank you. Oh, Roxy's tearing up. Yo, we really I think making each other's work visible, it's just so important in these times. So thank you, Regenera, for everything that you're doing. And hi to everybody on the stream. I know there's streaming in a bunch of places, and I really appreciate it. So it was good to see you, those of you in the Zoom room.
Good to see you too. Whew, I'm full weeping. This is amazing.
And this is Anthony Thomas. That was his song.
Hi,
Yeah.
Anthony.
I was sold out.
Yeah, we have a family band here, so yeah. Oh, good to see
According
you
to
guys.
Roxy, we have 3 or 4 minutes for you to jam. Is that still accurate, Roxy?
Oh.
Yeah, do you want to do it in Gaelic?
I can play one more song, but
Yeah, do Gaelic.
Oh, you want a Gaelic song?
I mean, you do whatever.
Yes, please.
Get it. Just get it. Get it.
I don't know if we know a Gaelic song in this room. I don't think we do.
Yeah, but we could have done that one.
Make it
Wait,
up.
here.
We don't
Okay,
know.
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a community singing song. So I'm gonna teach everybody this song and we're all gonna sing it together. And I'm gonna teach you it as well, okay? So this is a song that I wrote during the pandemic. Are you guys down to sing with me? If I teach you the song? Okay, I'll teach it line by line, okay? The whole song goes like this. I wrote it in the pandemic like a year and a half ago. And I'll sing the whole thing and then I'll teach it to you. It goes, we don't know what's coming, but we never have. Try that. We don't know what's coming, but we never have. And it's that again. We don't know what's coming, but we never have. And then the next part is, but with you standing next to me, oh, I feel like I can breathe. Try it. With you standing next to me, oh, I feel like I can breathe. And I'll rise up with you in a song. And I'll rise up with you in a song. Okay, we're gonna try and sing it all together. We don't know what's coming, but we never have. We don't know. We don't know what's coming, but we never have. But with you standing next to me, but with you standing next to me, oh, I feel like I can breathe, and I'll rise up with you in a song. One more time. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming. But we never have. We don't know what's coming. But we never have. But when you're standing next to me, oh, I feel like I can breathe, and I'll rise up with you in a song. And I'll rise. And I'll rise up with you in a song. One more time, everyone watch me. And I'll rise up with you in a song. There you go. This is the whole crew. We got the whole crew here.
Thanks, crew.
And I just want to give a shout out to my school. It's called the School for the Great Turning, schoolforthegreatturning.com. You can find all our classes with me and Joanna Macy, Leah Song of Rising Appalachia, a lot of different activists from all over the world. And yeah, School for the Great Turning is what it's called. And it's my baby. So yeah, there's the link in the chat. Thank you. Feel free to come off mute and say bye so I can hear you as if we were in person.
See you.
Don't
Thank you so much. Blessings and love. Hugs to Scotland.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody went, ah! Mwah. Have a good program.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank
That was amazing.
Joanna Macy.
Yeah.
To be alive in this beautiful, self-organizing universe, to participate in the dance of life with senses to perceive it, lungs that can breathe it, organs that draw nourishment from it, is a wonder beyond words. My 5 times great grandfather, I like to believe, was not one of the first. He was a Scottish activist in the 1500s. He ended up in Ireland in love with an Irish lady that the King of Denmark at the time simped on, even though they didn't use that word in that day. They were pursued across Ireland. The king wanted her badly. The only reason I am here today is because they escaped, settling in Norway on Farm Hagen, right under the King of Denmark's nose, I love to say. Our next guest is Corey Blair. Her art education began with visits to museum in New York at a very early age. She received her bachelor's of arts in 2016. Hi, Corey.
Hi.
From Hampshire College. She received her Bachelor of Arts in 2016 from Hampshire College, a radical institution, not so radical in my world, that emphasizes alternative teaching over grades. After graduating, she sought to study various painting techniques with specific teachers and painting directly from nature and the human figure. Welcome, Corey.
Thank you. Yeah, Hampshire is, one of those places that tries really hard to push people to think outside of the norms of society. But unfortunately, the structures of institution that it sits in is still, bogged down by the way that our capitalist society works. So anyway, I graduated, so I'm out of there. And I'm pretty anti-institution as an artist. I decided to make my own life drawing studio here in Berlin. And that's where I am right now. It's this collective space of, I wouldn't really call it a collective either. It's kind of just a bunch of rebel artists who have this old building, and we all do different things, and we have a small gallery, and in the back we have a garden. So I thought, I've been going to hundreds of life drawing classes. I might as well just start it here myself. So that's what I've been working on, and really grateful to just be back on the vision train in the Regenera moment. And we're gonna do some painting, and I might talk, I might paint, I might share, I might, put on some music. So it's a bit of a gamble here. And I think that's kind of what we're all moving into, just like that song. We don't know, what's coming, and we never have. So thank you so much for sharing your beautiful music and presence in your moment to sing. I also just joined a choir. So I love that moment when you said, everybody look at me now, because this feeling of let's bring the voices down together, let's end together, is such a beautiful thing, finding an ending, and I think in painting, which relates to life in a lot of ways, it's difficult to find an ending because you feel like you can just keep going, and I painted somebody's portrait today. And you know, that feeling of like somebody commissioning you to do their portrait as a gift for somebody else. It's like, yeah, that's a lot of pressure, right? And do I feel like it's done? Of course not. But these beautiful moments of like capturing somebody's essence and then hearing feedback and then like making a salad together and really enjoying the garden space. Like that was my day today. So amidst all the chaos and the war that's going on right now, and all we want to do and all the visions we dearly hold true to ourselves, it's important to take care of oneself also and remind like what are those things that you need to do to check in. So for me, that's painting, that's drawing from life, that's that's having a bath, that's like really taking time to lie down on a hard surface and like listen to what hurts and talk to family, talk to people, directly communicate. Like that's part of my healing process, and picking up a guitar and things like that. So that's who I am right now. I'm grateful to have the candle lit for the vision train. And I've got a bunch of like acrylic paint over here. And I've got like a surface of canvas here on a hardboard and a bunch of various brushes of different sizes. Anything works really. I've also got some kind of bendable, weird rubbery things like a cake spatula. And this is like a ceramic tool that you use for spinning. And check these out in your screen. We got squeegees. So I haven't been painting with acrylics, so I'm really excited to do that now and make a big mess. The point is to make a floating city, and what better medium to do that in acrylic? So I kind of have this idea or this vision of like what's in a floating city, what is my city, where do I feel home, where do I want to explore? You know, I want to listen to music, I want to welcome people, I want to jump on a boat, or like I want to jump on a rooftop, or like go walk by the canal. Like these are kinds of things that I could envision in my kind of floating city. I think it's difficult to kind of make it, not utopic as well though. So there's also like trash, and there's also like stray animals and hardship and like working class people. There are people who build this city where I live, who come from Slavic speaking regions, who literally do all of the heavy lifting at really low wages. So I think it's also important to understand like what builds a city and what grounds a city. So these are all kinds of things I'm just like doodling around in. Also Michel Foucault, if anyone's familiar with Foucault, talks about this idea of the heterotopia, which I love because it kind of means like this in-between space. And it's not like it's always the same, but it's places that are kind of like cemeteries, places that are like airports, places that are these somewhat dead spaces that they try to enliven as far as like urban planning goes, and just like this kind of efficient engineering backgrounds go. So I love to also think of these weird spaces that we don't always associate as like, oh, let's go to the airport to meet somebody, which I've done actually. And it's been beautiful because there was a really lovely installation built in the new Berlin airport, which went like 4 times over budget. I think it cost like $100 billion to build this airport, and 10 years delayed, But anyway, it opened earlier, late last year during the pandemic. And I was on my way back from the States, and back from Mexico, and I met a friend in the airport, like as she was going from Berlin to London. And we met under this huge installation they put in. Pei White did this gorgeous, it's called Magic Carpet, which I think is so perfectly made for an airport. But yeah, how do we re-envision these in-between spaces, So I think that those are all parts of this idea of like grounding a floating city, or like docking, A good friend of mine also, David Hederman, who I took all these many of the life drawing classes I've attended, he likes to say sailing the ship. as a metaphor for keeping the energy going, or like this idea that sometimes the wind is at your back and sometimes it's not, and sometimes there's no wind. So yeah, I think it's important as well in the conversation of the self in relationship to not only self, but self in relationship to your people around you and your relationship to the people in your community, is to like realign the sails often, and to really say, is this direction I actually want to go in? So that's kind of what I do when I realize, like, oh wow, I'm expending way too much energy on this topic or this thing or this person, that I have a tendency, I don't know if anyone else can relate, but to become really infatuated with somebody and then lose a bit of myself. So always to be kind of slightly adjusting the sails. And I think that's important building a city, or being a part of a city that's already falling apart. Let's kind of put it that way, because, let's face it, that's what we're building as a society, a bit unconsciously. So I'm gonna, as I showed you some of my materials, I've also got a big old cup of water. And you know what I love? I fucking love the spray bottle. I'm just gonna tell you that this is one of my favorite tools for acrylic painting. Yeah, Rosie, so on it. It's just that moment. Even with gouache painting, this stuff is great. Just get the surface a little bit prepped, We got hands, they're our best brush. Also, don't forget, use that big name. My hand's a little dirty, so it's even adding a little bit of pigment to my surface, because I've been working in the garden and there's a dog here and she's all covered in dirt and I just brushed her. So that's what's up with that. Yeah, I'm gonna just use the largest brush that I have to start. Yeah, know your mediums, know your hands. Know your gloves. Yeah, anybody wants to ask questions about anything that I'm doing, I would highly recommend to unmute yourself and pop in, or just paint along. I do have music, but I kind of want to just have this weird stream of consciousness flow, since we're live and this is who I am. So let's paint.
Corey, sounds good.
These days I started using way more paint. So I'm really like, there's not much time left for me to live. And I don't know if it could be tomorrow that I die. So I better just use all this shit, up really quick. I want to say something about mark making as well. Don't be afraid to really just like make a mark and step away from it and go, okay, that was that mark. There it is, there it was. And then make another mark, after you've had a session with that one mark. It's like one mark at a time, kind of. And each tool makes a different mark, right? So that's kind of why I'm starting with this enormous brush, just to kind of push myself a little bit to see some bigger shapes. And I'll let it drip, I'm not worried. I'm not really worried about things getting messed up or drip or mess in my studio. You know, that's what the space is for. So if you don't have a studio, make a studio, you know, like it doesn't have to be a room that's just yours. Like just make the space for yourself, you know, in a corner or in a book or whatever. So I'm just going to make a semblance of a horizon line. It's roughly in the center. And things are still wet, so I'm just going to let it kind of slowly drip a bit. So I need more paint now. I'm also going to introduce a new color, a darker blue. And like we have arms, right? So the distance between the tip of the brush and the arm is quite large. That's a tool. Like I'm really gonna, you can hold the edge of the brush, right? So like use the whole fulcrum of your body too when you want to make a mark, because you can see so much further. You have a bit more perspective. That's just something I've been practicing. Just going to remind myself of that horizon line every so often. Yeah. I also like to, when I paint from life, also I often just stand up and like walk back and forth from the canvas. I kind of call it like my little dance between back, because I just can always get like a different view of what's going on. Otherwise, if I'm too stuck in front of the work, then I move back as far as I can. Then I see exactly what the moment is that needs to change. So if you ever get stuck in a work and you're working on it, and you realize you're just like literally too close to it, just go as far back as you can where you can still see it. Take a deep breath, and then something will emerge. You might not know exactly how to solve it, but something will speak, you know. So I'm already starting to kind of like where this is going, even though there's really not much. But I kind of have this like idea of these weird buildings and mountains like kind of connect in the same place, and the center part being a sort of flat area. I'm gonna try one of the squeegees. Let's go with the big one. Yeah, so like, I hope y'all could kind of see, but it just makes like way different marks than my hand could make. It makes way different marks than a bristle brush could make. And I found this like at the dollar store, you know, so. Don't feel limited. There's a great lecture on YouTube by Vincent Desiderio. I think he's speaking at Cal Arts or somewhere in California. But he's just describing his work, and when he decided he would start painting with roofing tar, and he's saying like, you just can't use a brush with the stuff. Like at a certain point, he just put on dishwashing gloves and was handling it with his hands. I love the way he described it, because he just was like, wow, the hand, it's so dexterous. Like, you can do this with your hand, you can do this with your hand, you can do this with your hand. Like, it's the best brush that was ever invented, you know? There's so much possibility. So I love to think about that as far as the three-dimensionality of painting, and the materiality is only as limited as we constrain it to be, which I think is important, to create your own constraints, because that's part of the artist. So if we're going to build a floating city, like, what are our constraints, you know? What are our preferred media? What are our preferred material? You know, what do we have to work with? Like, where is this place? Is it actually floating, or is it like suspended? You know, is it docking? I kind of like this idea of docking, like this. Ooh, I'm gonna add some color again. I really like this idea of like arriving at the harbor. Yeah, like, what are you gonna find there, right? Let's throw some darker colors even in. That's the thing to consider as well. The tone of color, how dark and how light. What family of tone, you know, what direction of tone is the color moving towards? So dark blue, moving towards black, right? I think so. Do you need to use black? I don't know. You can. No fucking rules. So do you want to? This brush is great. It's so fucked. It's got like years of acrylic paint built into it, but I love it because you don't know what's going to happen. So it's like a gamble every time. Calligraphy kind of style, like like this kind of ink idea, if that makes sense. Make it fun, right? Like, even a bad day painting is a good day because you're painting. Like, it's so great. What a blessing. Like, I feel so grateful to get to explore this medium. So the other thing about canvas is that it's white when it's gessoed. Linen is different color, whatever. There's all kinds of things you can paint on. But in this case, I'm always working against the white of the gesso. Like, this is my lightest value. So anything I do is just going to get destroyed in relationship to the white, because this is sun. Everywhere is sun that's white. So you kind of like got to work backwards a little bit, just like while you're laying in your initial abstract exploration, because you can always add white back, but yeah, you can tone your canvas too, which essentially what I'm doing right now is toning my canvas, but I'm just doing it in a way where I'm applying things in a really fun fashion, instead of just going like really methodically do. Like, I'm kind of letting the toning the canvas process, this really thin layer, be really fun, and allow the idea of whatever needs to come through. And it's cool to see it on the Zoom small thumbnail also, because I kind of see somewhat of a moon or sunny ethereal light object there. So that's also kind of cool. Like, take a little photo on your iPhone while you're making something, and then step back, you know, look at it tiny. Does the same thing. So back to the freaking floating city. I love that. I don't know whose idea that was. Doesn't really matter. Rags are cool. Rags are old t-shirts for me. I just find t-shirts on the street and then I cut them up and use them. Like cotton is the best, right? So just see what happens. I don't know, anything. So now this is like reductive a bit, but it's also moving stuff around. And I don't want to do it too much because it's easy to overdo any mark, right? You make a mark and you go, oh, that was a cool mark, let me make it again. And then I get stuck in this, let me try to remake that same mark. And then I end up painting over the mark that was once cool and now it's gone. So there's always a good moment to just say, stop, step back, refocus. Like right now, stop, refocus. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating with your presence, because that is a really amazing gift to give me right now. I feel really, really grateful to share my super strange exploration into paint on the vision train, which I think it's been a year since I've been on it. Maybe that's a lie. But yeah, let's add some blue green, because I think a floating city has to sustain itself somehow. So they got to be growing some plants or raising some kind of something. Yeah. These colors are kind of fun because they're really transparent. Things are still wet, so we're still moving around a bit, kind of like oil. That's the fun thing with that spray bottle we were talking about. Where is it? Keep moving. Maybe a little reminder of that horizon line from earlier. And some of those buildings that were popping up also might want to get explored again. This thing is so cool. First time I'm using it. Obsessed. Okay, this is cool. So now that the painting is starting to dry a little bit, it's creating a different effect when I added new paint on top. It's dry up here. It's still wet down here. God damn, that's cool. So this could go on for ages. I could stay up for a long time and just keep doing this. But do I do that? No, because I have so many things I have to do in my life. So it's just about prioritizing them in the right moments and taking care and not being hard on oneself. I hope you all are not hard on yourselves. That is a practice of mine. I'm a masochist sometimes for no reason. But I learned to just stop sometimes and really like check in. It's okay to be at the speed of where you are at, because that is actually the exact speed you need to be at. Yeah. Sometimes I like to put the paint also directly on the thing, the surface. I don't know why, but I kind of have sometimes an urge to do that. Doing the dance. I get rid of that white, at least some of it. I kind of like this central disaster, you know? So I'm gonna become a little bit precious with that thing. I'm gonna prioritize that in my life right now, just a little bit. Not too much, but just enough. It's cool that you all are here. Really grateful for your companionship and comradeship on this floating ship city. So we're talking about color a little bit and tone, right? And if the relative tone of a color is dark or light, and then I change color, that's going to have a relationship to whatever color is on there, whatever tone that color is a part of. So every single mark you make on the painting only actually exists in the relationship to the other marks that you have made. These are kind of my mantras, like that I've just picked up after doing it enough times. Like, it's only about relationships. So is life. For me, that's the reason I'm in Berlin, because I really love the community and the relationships I found here through music and through life drawing. Yeah, buildings have kind of hard edges, but what if they didn't? What if buildings actually had, you know, a little bit more of curves built into them? Have you ever been to the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona since it opened? If you get the chance to travel to that place, get inside of that building and spend, you know, don't do a tour, just go in there alone and stand there and watch the tides of people move in and out while the rainbows of prismatic lights are just dazzling through the space. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. There are like mosaics and sculptures and paintings, and the glasswork is just unbelievable. And I kind of love this type of thinking. Gaudi and his team, what they did there, that it doesn't have to be finished in your lifetime, but you can have a project like to work towards and really do it the way no one's ever done it before, without trying to do it like no one's ever done it before, right? So I think being original isn't about thinking about being original. It's actually about just doing the thing. So the reason I bring that up is just because in architecture, there's a cheap way to do it, which is more of the engineering side of things. But then there's a creative way to do it. And I kind of like this idea of rounding edges and also hard edges. Like, it's the same thing with painting, hard edges and soft edges. So like hard edge, soft edge. this becomes hard because this is soft, or this becomes drippy because this isn't drippy, right? So this is the kind of thing I just wanted to share, is these relationships between things when you're making marks. Yeah, on buildings in a floating city, which I think are cool, because I do like to be in a building and I like to be outside. I like when buildings have natural light in the daytime. One of my wishes would be to go on a long sailing voyage in a warm place where the water's also warm. Let's just go there while we're there. Because you're inside, but you're outside. Like, you're cozy on your ship, on your boat, whatever. I guess I've never done a voyage, but you're also like exposed. I kind of like this. Like in Germany, the Reichstag, which is the parliament building, like the Capitol building kind of deal. Here, the architecture of it is specifically designed to be transparent, so you can see all the meeting rooms, even as a public visitor. Here we are in English. Yeah, so you could go up into this beautiful spiral dome and circle it, and look down while they're having a meeting, like having a proper session of, you know, all the different parties trying to reach decisions, which they never do, because what is politics without, you know, putting stuff off for ages until you can get somebody to give you money. But anyway, I like the concept, you know, not that things are practiced the way they're made, but the concept is there, and it does function somewhat, you know, even if it is not really a social democracy here, although it's, you know, kind of a safe haven in some ways. I feel really grateful. I feel free here to do this thing, but yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I would love to get introduced a bit to the School of the Great Turning, for this idea of how spaces kind of interact and create this sense of oppression or sense of liberation, when how spaces are designed. So I don't know if that school, you know, touches on that, but I think Joanna Macy, yeah, has some pretty extrasensory perceptions on space. Yeah, she's kind of like a poet academic, which is cool. Like, if you're gonna do that academic thing, yeah, wow, well done. Sweet. I'm just gonna do like a little bit more here and then kind of call it, because it's 11:36 where I am, and I have a dog. And you know, I'd probably better get some beauty rest or whatever. Got a big weekend ahead of me. And I got a floating city to dream in, you know, now that I've started this beautiful exploration. I'm going to bring in the other concept I was talking about, which is, so if colors have relationship to tone, colors have relationship to temperature. And blue would be in the temperature family of cool, right? Like icy blue, long distance, far, I'm so sad it's blue. And red would be like fiery, hot, warm, sexy passion, earthy clay, molding. So those have a relationship when they're together and when they're next to each other. And I'm going to just attempt to demonstrate what that could look like.
burnt sienna, and ultramarine blue, I think are really good examples of very warm, very cool together. But I often work in grayscale, and I don't mean black and white grayscale, I mean color grayscale. So subtle variations of gray. So if you have two colors in the color, this we'll go into this in like another workshop. It's a bigger topic, but if you have like colors that cancel each other out, which are opposites on the color wheel, like star-crossed lovers, if you will, they will just make a gray. Essentially, they will become a muddy gray thing, but the muddy gray thing can help you enhance really saturated colors. So I'm painting a really saturated color thing right now, and it's fun because it's like, you know, really green and really bright. But when you paint in grayed out colors, muddy colors, you can make something really yellow or really blue just feel like it's on neon fire at another level dimension in your floating city universe. So that is to be explored in a workshop I'm doing later this year. In person in June, catch me in Berlin, Seeing Colors with Brittany Karhoff. We're going to be doing a like essentially reflected light workshop on a portrait of the figure. So that's happening. Also going to do landscape painting from life online in September, I think, on Vision Training, Vitro Academy. Mark your calendars. Where we do more of this honest exploration into the self, self in relationship to self, in relationship to your work, in relationship to those around you, and in community. Oh, you know what I love to do? Since this is more of a yellow than an orange, I like to put a little bit of it near the horizon. You know, Rosie with the baked potatoes, that is a good move. Baked potatoes remind me of my childhood. The truth is that there are over, I think, what is it, 800 species of potato. Am I wrong on that? I might be wrong on that, but I know that there's a really large number of species of potato, and we only eat like 5 to 10 varieties of those. What have we been doing with all these potatoes? I'll tell you what though, the potatoes will be in my floating city. If you are enjoying this exploration into painting floating city, part of Regenera, which I'm so grateful that this aligns with my moment. You can find me on Instagram at CoreyBlair_, and write me a message and say, hey, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you want to do together if you want to have a collaboration or a conversation. I really love connecting with people, so don't feel shy. I just want to put that out there. I also make music under the name Posh Monk because I feel like a posh monk.
And that's a bit of a synth exploration. It's like doing this, but with sound on electric synthesizer. I always gonna kind of remember my horizon. You know, it's somewhere around here, somewhere around there. And if you do come to Berlin and you would like to attend a life drawing class, these are the things I do with life drawing. We can do another presentation on another day. But if you do want to come in person and draw from the model, I do that twice a week, Saturdays and Mondays. Which I think starting something oneself is such a big commitment, but it's really good to do. And then having help and support too. You don't have to do everything by yourself too. Even if you have awesome big ideas or small ideas, like outsource the things you can't do. That's okay. Cool. I want darker colors still. I still want darker colors and I don't have that. So I gotta make it. And how do you make a darker color? Well, red and blue make purple, which is kind of darker than blue or red. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna bring purple in here. Whoa. These acrylic paints have a mind of their own, I will tell you. I'm gonna bring in this like crazy brush that I don't know what happens when I use it. And again, for this job. Oh, yeah. That shit dark. That shit dark. I really appreciate everybody who's here. If you're live streaming, if we're on the radio, if this is YouTube archived, who knows? Yeah, so like reflections in water are fun too, by the way. They're always like a bit changing. But I'm gonna make a little pond in the middle here. So that's just what that's gonna be. And I think we're wrapping up soon here. Am I right? I don't know who's next. But yeah, I see Mark alive there. I see Roxy and Miss Papaya moving about. Faith, Dan, how we doing?
I don't know, but I got paint all over my face, man. I just like trying to figure out where to I usually use my fingers, but it's been fun doing this journey with you. Yeah.
Super.
You're in Berlin, is that what I understand?
Yeah.
And how long have you been there for?
I've been here for about 5 years. In September, it will be 5 years. So.
Wonderful. I was there when they took down the wall. I got to beat a big chunk out of the wall.
God damn.
Exciting. Yeah, exciting stuff.
I mean, to think about a city literally being sectioned off, it just blows my mind. You know, imagine a borough in New York essentially being like sanctioned. Just what? And for 30 years, that is half of a generation. Like that is a proper almost half of a lifetime, you know. So yeah.
So you can imagine a whole generation there standing at a wall that suddenly has holes in it, and they could walk through it without anybody pointing a weapon at them. That was amazing, that transition. 1989.
Oh.
What a part of history that you were there. That's amazing. Just lovely. Reminds me my mom was young, and my mom used to tell me, I said, well, where are you from, Mom? And she said, Russia, Poland. I said, well, which one? She said, well, sometimes it was Russia and sometimes it was Poland. So it's like that, I guess.
Yeah, I got the same story going on. Yeah,
Me
we're all
too.
from someplace else. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Hi, Faith.
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you to Corey, because this has been beautiful and fun, and it's like a breath of fresh air to have some time to calm and watch. I'm watching you paint. I'm not painting myself. I wish I was painting myself, but it's really beautiful. Do we get to see the final product of what you're painting?
Yes. You mean a close-up or some other future thing?
Yeah.
Close-up. Okay. I can do that.
Here we go.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, Corey,
It's really
that's
come
amazing.
to life so much. So it's in such a quick time.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's been 35 minutes or something just to build a whole city in 35 minutes. Shows you what's possible.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. This is really beautiful. I think, and it's really amazing because you see on the back wall, it's very, very incredible as well. Are these some of your other paintings on the back wall?
Yeah. Let's do a little.
We'll do a quick tour and then
tour the studio.
transition to our friends of Perma Youth.
Oh, look at that.
I know.
Wow, that's beautiful. Whew.
That's a new piece.
Nice, Corey. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. This is kind of what I do with oil. That is the same kind of process of just like, it's blurry, but I like it. And letting things kind of emerge. Then there are these smaller landscapes here.
Sometimes the most challenging thing about painting is, when do you stop?
Right.
I think Picasso said when it's sold, or somebody said that. as a teacher of elementary school artists, I used to say, it's done when the teacher takes it away from you. And they say, oh yeah, you're done now. It's great. Otherwise they don't want to stop. So it's too much fun.
Can I chime in on that? I don't paint or show, but I have a lot of best friends that are incredible painters. And this one friend, he had his painting photographed for a big show in New York City, and then it was used for the invitation, and then he kept painting on it and ruined it. The piece that was on the card was no longer existing because he didn't stop painting. So he learned his lesson. Once your painting's photographed, you should stop painting. Anyway, I was at the beginning of her thing, and then I was doing something, came back at the end, and oh my God, thank you so much for sharing your process. And that was incredible, Corey. So glad we were able to be here and get to see you create that vision, just like that.
My ultimate pleasure. Thanks, Mark.
Oh, this is Harlan. I look like Mark. Mark and I are from the same
Oh, sorry.
era.
Here we go. Harlan, there we go.
Look at that. Yeah.
I see his
my
face
Mark's
moving
got
it.
hair. It's got it tied back. You can do that. You can have the same.
There we are. Thanks so much, Harlan. All right, take care, everybody. I wish you such
thank
a
you,
stellar
Corey.
rest of the Regenerative.
Bye, Corey. Love you.
All right, take
Bye,
care.
y'all.
Have a good night's sleep.
Very inspiring.
Sending love to you, Berlin. Thank you for creating with us and teaching us how to paint a floating city.
I love it. And next up, we have Morag Gamble and Bemriki Bizimwa Tusabi. Bemriki, if I said your name wrong, that was the first time I think I've ever said your full name, so I apologize. Bemriki is one of our partner projects that we work with through the Regenerosity Network. And so I'm really, really, really grateful that you can make it today, especially since it's nearly 1 something in the morning in Uganda. It's quite late for you. And also we're bringing in Morag Gamble from Australia, so 2 totally opposite ends of the globe right now. But I wanted to say that Morag is the founder of Permaculture Education Institute, which is a sister charity to Ethos Foundation. And through these organizations, she mentors and hosts global perma youth. And Morag works with Bemriki, and Bemriki runs the Ramwanja Rural Foundation, who catalyzes the network of East African perma-youth hubs with a key focus on refugee settlements. And he's worked on creating permaculture learning centers in multiple different camps. He's also a refugee, he was and is a refugee living in Uganda for the last 15 years and graduated from the Permaculture Education Institute of PDC and the Permaculture Teacher Certification sponsored by PEI. I'm just very, very, very grateful to have you both here. And in person, that's such an incredible treat. I'm trying to find Bemriki to bring him up as well. He seems like he has good enough internet right now. It's also raining quite heavily in Uganda. Yes. I don't know if you can start your video, Bemriki.
Well, thank you very much, Faith. You could say good morning to Morag and
yes,
good afternoon to some of you as well.
Hi,
for us, it's already, yeah, thank you. For us, it's almost 1 a.m. So it's morning already. Yeah, I'm sorry, we might not be having electricity, and I'm glad that the network somehow can be okay. It have been raining since almost midday up to now. I hope everything now is okay. Well, I'm Bemerik Bisima-Sabe, a refugee from Democratic Republic of Congo, living in Ramwanja refugee settlement in Uganda. As Faith said, I've been here in Uganda for almost a decade and a half. And I've come to meet Morag through the masterclass that she mostly uploaded on her YouTube channel. It's when I come across about permaculture. I've been practicing about permaculture, but I never knew if permaculture existed, either it had principle or ethics. So I wrote to her several times. I was admitted. I've been given scholarship. I attended the course, the PDC. Then when I reached on module 5, which was almost about starting a project, it's when I started teaching about permaculture. I started with a couple of youth from my community in the settlement. So through that way, I continued working until I recruited also women and youth. Then I came to connect the entire Uganda, though we are yet to cover the whole of it, but we have covered until we covered East Africa. So I graduated from Permaculture Education Institute with the Permaculture Design Certificate as well as the Permaculture Teacher's Certificate. I'm now mentoring the Perma youth across East Africa, refugee settlement, as well as the host community. So that's what we do with Morag. If we can go into details, there are many, but I know that the time is short. With due time, we'll be sharing with you some of what we do. Morag is also there too. Morag, microphone is yours.
Oh, thank you, Bemriki. And it's lovely to see the books behind you, even though we can't see you.
Yeah,
and you know, that's actually really significant too, because Bemriki has been working really hard and with the support of Regenerosity to begin creating this learning center with resources to be able to share and myceliate permaculture and permaculture youth programs throughout the refugee settlements in East Africa. And I was just thinking, someone just mentioned before as we were watching the beautiful painting with Corey about we're all from someplace else. And I thought that was really pertinent in this conversation. And it's also, I always usually start conversations too by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land of which I'm seated today. I'm here on the unceded lands of the Gubbi Gubbi and would like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I felt tears rolling down my face. I think I mentioned with when Roxy mentioned it too, with there was some music from Scotland beaming in, which is kind of, it must have been something sort of resonating in me, because it just had this flood of tears going on there. There's this sense of like, you know, we are from somewhere else. We feel grounded in different places. And I know that with all the work that Bemriki and all of the Perma Youth team are doing is like, they're displaced from their lands, from their communities, and sometimes for extremely long periods of time. Bemriki's been in Ugandan camps and also camps in Kenya for, you know, getting close to 2 decades in displacement. And I think the sort of the song words that came through earlier, we are one, we are strong, and we are beautiful, is kind of what we're seeing coming through what's happening with this, the strength of the networks and the hope and the positivity that's coming through this practical steps that Bemriki is sharing with these groups about, you know, creating food, creating livelihood, growing medicines, creating, you know, strengthening community, connecting communities. And I wanted to maybe, there's some of the threads of this myceliation that's going on throughout the various camps, Bemriki, that I think is absolutely fantastic. And one of them is how you talk about how permaculture is bringing a sense of peace, and permaculture is a tool of peace. And considering where we are in the world at the moment with all the conflict going on, you've been situated within conflict for a long time in your country and in your region. Can you just talk a little bit about how you perceive permaculture and peace, and with how important that is with the youth in particular?
Well, thank you very much, Marat. Yeah, for the time I've been here, Romanch is not the camp that I've been in. Romanja was opened the 12th February 2012, and the first convoy came into 15th April 2012. There have been much conflict between refugees alone, because many refugees fled the M23 war and the governments, which is too ethnistic. Then I worked as a peace building and a conflict ambassador across refugee settlement. We have been engaged in several missions in Rwanda, Burundi, Eritrea, and South Sudan. I also went to Djibouti in mission for over peace. But the way we were conducting this peace building session is quite different from the way we are applying permaculture, because permaculture itself is practical, whereas the other methods that we have been using with the BPRM was just the theory. How is it different? The difference is that engaging two groups, we do engage them, we facilitate them a peace process and all necessary mediation that is supposed to take place. But what was behind is that we could just, as if we are obliging and a reconciliation could take place. But with permaculture, we facilitate through these 3 ethics, then we go back to principles. And the way we do this is when we create a group of people, a person, him or herself, is just obliged to just forgive. Reason being that they share the same meal, they share game, they also share materials. For example, if we make a nursery bed for the entire group, they need to collaborate for it to grow so that they can get vegetables taken to their home. If we give them one spray pump, they need to collaborate in order to have access to that. So when refugees came to this area, most of the host community feared us that no, Congolese to eat people. It was quite difficult for the Congolese to sit and interact with the Ugandans who are asking to be our host. But through permaculture, we conducted a training of 15 by 15, which is 50 by 50 host community and refugees. What the first approach was to share meal. We learned about culture practice, and through that, that's the very session for the first day where they understand what culture means, how does culture affect the communities and the peace. So through that, that's how permaculture is coexistence, peace amongst the youth as well as refugees and host community.
Thanks, Bemriki. And it's incredibly powerful, the work you're doing. And hopefully I'll share just a couple of pictures. There's so many to share, and maybe we can share a bit of a song before we finish as well, because where I think there's a real strength in the work that you're doing is through this nourishing, sort of adding compost to culture and creating through the work you're doing sort of the culture of permaculture. And it's not just about a garden. It is so much about creating like a new lens to look through for livelihoods, for connecting with community, for education, for all different dimensions. And so there's in some of the partners that Bemriki is working with now, all the camps throughout Tanzania are now going to start getting permaculture school gardens, and that's happened as a result of this work. So it's just kind of spreading out. Bemriki has been traveling up through all the different camps, teaching programs, bringing up with him new youth leaders who will then continue in their community, and then keeping them all connected digitally as well. So it's not just going and running a course and moving on. He's helping them to create centers, to seed banks, tool libraries, resource hubs. And so this kind of movement is just rippling out person to person across the camps, from Kenya to Uganda to Tanzania, and sort of seeping out as well. So and there's no real major support for this. This is driven by Bemriki's commitment to this work and his building of relationships and networks within the community. Totally could have so much more support, and it's so brilliant that Regenerosity stepped in to help create this learning hub where Bemriki is. But you mentioned ethics before. I might just drop those in, the 3 ethics. So the 3 ethics of permaculture: earth care, people care, and fair share. And so that's what Bemriki was talking about there before. I wonder, Bemriki, do you want to just talk just a moment about the music and the cultural elements of the work that you're doing, and how this is helping to share the kind of ideas and strategies of permaculture as you're trying to do that, and how that's also helping engage the youth?
Well, in our teaching, or in my teaching, I don't just I may not be good at writing, but if I write at all, there are others who are not good at writing. Not everybody that should be a farmer. We can farm in different categories. I've seen somebody painting. It's also a kind of teaching. Another one is singing, another one designing. So the way, or the good approach of the song and video is that it spreads the knowledge throughout the settlement to another settlement, from one person to another person, because it is just composed into local language where people understand. We have been teaching, when I've been teaching, I could get pictures or videos that is made by Morag or other international permaculture bodies. But our people believe in touching or seeing things that were mimicked by their own film. They could say, no, these are the things the same as what you see in the film. People just made this. Can we do it here? If it works, then it does it. So that's how I started creating resources like video for teaching that it was made locally. That's how we made songs. With this youth, everywhere I go, I do get youth. Doesn't mean that I mobilize for youth. You come and do this. When they just run for the first day, the second day, they get just to understand. They say, no, if for us, what we can do, we are talented in singing. We can sing. For other people to understand what is happening and the way we can advocate for that. So the song is composed in local language, and also many people get to understand through the song, and through that, that's how we created a YouTube channel, and many requests were just being flowing day to day through the videos and songs that we made, and they are on YouTube channel as well as Facebook. So that have been incredible work, and through that, it also enabled me to just facilitate on online courses that have been also maintained through online, either WhatsApp, Google Meet, and also Facebook and Zoom during the second lockdown. So that's how the video and song helps me to teach other people and also make awareness. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, Bemriki. I've just shared into the chat Bemriki's YouTube channel, and I just want to take a moment to just visually share that here. I think you can see the back of my messy screen. There we go, that's better. So this is Bemriki's YouTube channel. It's called Ramunja Rural Foundation. That's the name of his nonprofit that he bases. So you can see there is just so many films that he's created. So there's films you can hear, like this one here in particular is this amazing young girl telling a story about the impact that studying permaculture has had on her. This one with the women in permaculture is their incredible stories about this story of peace that Bemriki's just been sharing. Every time he's making something like a nursery bed or briquette making or energy stoves, he's put them in here. And this is Roland, who's one of his students, apprentice teachers, who's now teaching her own programs, particularly with young children up in Nakavali Refugee Settlement, which is just a little bit north, I believe, of where you are. And then there's some of the songs, some of the English language songs that are here. And I thought maybe we could just share a little bit of one of them. Bemriki, is this one okay, do you think? This one here? Should I share this one?
I think the next to that.
This one?
Yep.
This one, okay. All right.
Leo najivunia Permaculture ni number 1 tena 100 kwa 100. Ulitupa shule bure, majifunzo bora, mahitaji somo mchezo vyote tumetimiza. Ndani ya vijiji vyetu twajiweza. Permaculture wewe umeleta mwangaza. Mboga zote ninazomie, njoni sokoni niwauzie. Maisha leo ni teke teke, teke teke easy. Kila kitu ni teke teke, teke teke. Hakuna shida, njoni tucheze, tucheke cheke, teke teke. Tomato ngongo, leteni pesa tuweke weke, weke weke. Tumeweza maisha sababu ya funzo ya Permaculture. Who's the brother way how you can get money? Permaculture. We are making business of vegetable because Permaculture. Who's the show us how we can change our world what become greenest? Permaculture. 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 Umugabano w'ijira y'ibuzarapfa. Permaculture waratugize iyo twibura twari gupfa. Let me sing it yalalo. Let me say yalalo. Mukuri y'ingofero. Permaculture we say thank you. Permaculture you are our mother. Permaculture you are our father. Permaculture you give the way you change my life. Precious celebration. Permaculture you appreciate you. You have brought the light in our community. Dans les cas dangereux, tu étais près de nous. C'est Permaculture qui nous montre les chemins du futur. Permaculture c'est comme une montagne. Venez tous et restons debout. Nous étions décis, maintenant il y a l'espoir. Nous disons merci, merci Permaculture pour nous montrer l'amour et pour nous donner l'espoir de demain. Merci Permaculture, Permaculture, Permaculture.
Messieurs Bemeriki Bisimwa. Mafanikio. Merci beaucoup.
So I did, while I've still got the sharing on, I thought I might just share too, just a couple of extra pictures, and I hope that you can still see this. So this was one of the first groups of Perma Youth that Bemeriki was hosting, and this is kind of where it started with the Perma Youth. But since then, he's been across to many camps, many communities, creating gardens, helping create food forest in public spaces, teaching the women's groups and farmers groups, and encouraging people to step up and be leaders and teachers themselves, transforming monocultures into polycultures, so taking fruit trees out of the community, working with children of all age. This is actually his daughter with one of her harvests out of their little backyard kitchen garden that they've created, and using as a demonstration and a place to share seeds and plant cuttings, and training up these local leaders. This is Roland again, who's goes out into communities as well and shares the knowledge, and even out to, she ran something called a Permaculture Christmas for the kids last Christmas, and shared out trees, and they went and did tree planting, and up in the north of Uganda, Brenda, one of his other students, is now running kitchen garden programs, taking these compost integrated raised kitchen gardens to households for all the members of the Perma Youth, and this is one of their recent projects. And this is some of the school garden projects, starting their food forests in the camps in Tanzania. And Danny, who's there with the backpack, he's also going out to various homes and communities too, and working with people of all ages to create these sort of sack gardens and kitchen gardens in all the different pockets. And up in Kenya, there's a new music studio that's just started, which is also a permaculture learning centre. And this was the first group, mostly a women's permaculture group that trained up there, and everyone got sort of tools and seeds and resources to share. So these are the links of the different organisations that are supporting. So the Permaculture Education Institute is anyone who wants to, who's in these camps, is able to log on if they can, and we try and help with Wi-Fi and resources. The Ethos Foundation is our charity where we collect support from communities around the world and send 100% across to the projects Bemeriki and his colleagues are doing. And Perma Youth is that global youth network connecting young people from these camps around the world and sharing action. So I'm just going to stop sharing now. And Bemeriki, I wonder if you wanted to add anything in there, or perhaps even open up to see if anyone had any questions that they wanted to ask you, just to jump on in.
Well, if there is anybody with a question, it's fine. I'm free, not free from that.
Yeah, we would love to open it up to questions from people in the room, in the virtual Zoom room as well.
My first question is, what kind of help do you need right now, and how can the Design Science Studio be of support to this initiative? I think we're a collective of hundreds of artists, some of which are also in Africa, and we'd love to find more ways to collaborate and support you all. So knowing kind of where you're at and what you need would be great.
Do you want to respond, Bemeriki, first?
That was me. Sorry, I realized I was on camera.
Hi, Roxy.
Hi.
Yep, you can respond. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Bemeriki. So, one of the first things that I always share is that one of the key things that is helping this myceliation process happening and getting things on the ground is simply just financial support is kind of one of the key things, particularly for funding free education. And so that's kind of the focus of what Bemeriki's been doing is, so what we've been able to do is support him to get to a place. He'll offer free education and mentoring and training, and then he's able to then support them in an ongoing way. And so really it's just running these programs. We have probably about 10 courses waiting to happen at the moment that we don't have funds for. So the ethosfoundation.org.au, which I put up there, is a place where people can donate at any time. And the money, as you know, as I just said, always goes 100% to these programs. We're currently working with Regenerosity to support the development of the centre, the demonstration centres, the place where people can come and learn and see. Like Bemriki said, there's one thing, I can give my course to anyone over there, and like he said, it only makes a certain amount of sense, and only people can access it a certain amount with the digital technology. Him running something in a community where there's no examples is great, but to actually bring people to a place where it's happening is brilliant. So all those things together. But then also I think, if you've got a program running, open it up, let people come in, tithe something towards it. So, like I run this permaculture educators program, people pay to join that, except anyone can join it from any of these camps, because I know it's a completely different economy. And so it's just open to anyone who applies. I don't have a limited number. So what can you offer? Like if you're running arts programs or music programs or anything, like offer an invitation to join. The boredom and the despair is paramount, and things happen when there's just not opportunities. And so they do have phone connectivity, and we're working to create these centers where there's Wi-Fi hubs where they can connect into this. So yeah, just inviting, offering out that invitation to play and join in is a big one.
Awesome. Morag, I would love to extend that. The next time we run the program is starting in September. So let's work together to invite them in. And we also have, I was mentioning in the chat to Bemriki that Wahinya, who's in the cohort, he's in Kenya, and he's also a music producer and has just been in the program for the last 7 months and is amazing. And I feel like there's a collaboration.
Oh wow, that would be incredible. Yeah, because that's like the music studios is something that we're just trying to work on creating right now. There's a couple that are forming, but that would be just brilliant.
There's also another artist from cohort 1 who was here with us yesterday, Hannah Apricot, and she's working on opening up music studios.
She actually is already working with Maura.
Oh yeah. So it's because of the work that we're doing with Perma Youth that started. So Perma Youth
realize that was like the same.
Yeah. Perma Youth was running festivals.
Wrote in the chat. That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so she's we were mentoring the Perma Youth, and every time we'd run a Perma Youth festival, there would be these songs coming in from the camps, and then they were saying we'd love to have a studio. So Hannah went off and organized some funding for the studio, and actually managed to get some funding from the Rex Foundation, which is the Grateful Dead's foundation, who has sponsored this solar-powered mud brick permaculture learning center music studio, and it's just had its opening a couple of weeks ago, and that's now we're hoping to kind of replicate that but simplify it. So there's a center that Bemriki already has, like just setting it up there, and I've just sponsored another couple of young girls who are filmmakers to try, and they want to write stories and do a permaculture TV storytelling type of concept. And so, equipment, resources, training on how to do documentary making and how to edit music and, or construct, like you saw one of the examples that was, a simple song that they wrote with multiple languages in a simple studio, but the potential and possibility is there. And one of the things that we were trying to work on is actually creating a Perma Youth album, particularly from all the camps, and then be able to share that out. So the stories from all the different youth centers in all the camps can be shared out to the world. Yeah. Mariette, you're sitting in the room. Did you want to jump in and ask something, or? Yeah.
Well, yes, and also to say how much I love this project. I am the daughter of a woman who is a refugee and lived 3 years in a camp many years ago. And so for me, anybody who is working with displaced communities has a personal pull, but as well as an artist in the Design Science Studio, I really can't say how exciting it is to see these programs happening. I was in Mali some years ago and had been privy to an indigenous language education initiative similar to this. And yet at the time, right, the permaculture was kind of separate, and the music and the photography and these things were separate. And now there's this incredible synthesis that is integral to this program. And the way that you and Bemriki are working together and synthesizing this, I think that is in and of itself one of the most regenerative things I've witnessed, even virtually right now. It's lovely.
Thank you. And I can see Hannah's just joining us here. I'm so glad that you're here, because I also do want to do the shout out that we're just about to launch. Are we allowed to say that yet, Hannah?
Yes, let's do it. Let's announce it, please.
Tomorrow we're launching the Youth in Permaculture Prize, the global prize, and the Abundant Earth Foundation has been able to find £10,000 that we're able to then distribute to young people. So today and tomorrow I'm trying to get translations for all the different applications so they're available. We're getting it in Arabic, Malay, Spanish, German, Kiswahili, like all different languages we can find, to then be able to spread this out around the world. And over the next month, 6 weeks, we're hoping to find and discover. So we won't be able to fund every amazing permaculture project that's being run by youth for youth, but hopefully we'll be able to connect them and then connect them with this wider community and keep the communications and support and this sort of regenerative approach going. And I think, often, like you're saying, the permaculture gets stuck in the gardening, but it's when it becomes the culture of permaculture and it's applying the lens to all different aspects of their life that it does get a life of its own, and it does myceliate because it makes sense, Hannah, sorry, go on in.
Yeah, well, we're so excited to be partnering with you, Morag, and the Ethos Foundation. This is the 4th year that Abundant Earth Foundation has, we started the Youth in Permaculture Prize 4 years ago in partnership with Permaculture Magazine. And then last year joined Lush in the Spring Prize and Ethical Consumer, and came into, for the first time, really have a youth section for that prize. And so yes, it's going to be so exciting to see what applications we get this year, and translating into so many languages is really exciting to hopefully also be using the Perma Youth Network to spread to all of the youth. And yeah, it's a great opportunity. The money will be divided amongst a handful of different projects, but everybody who applies is just welcome to be part of this continued conversation about how to really support youth and their creativity and connecting to permaculture and all the solutions it has to offer, and how they can bring this to their community and their life every day. And really just, it amazes me the improvement in the quality of life that permaculture offers people. And so glad that Bemriki is on this call and the amazing work he's doing, and some of our other colleagues, especially in Kakuma refugee camp. And so yes, it's so exciting what these youth are doing.
Yeah, and it's really exciting too that the studio has just been launched, so we're kind of waiting for all that music to start flooding out of Kakuma, which is super exciting.
Yeah, did you talk about the studio project at all already?
Only just we shared one of the songs, and it was great. Just, I think you might have heard the conversation we had about, anyway.
No, unfortunately I didn't. I just missed it. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you just want to mention the Sunrise Studio project.
I would love to, yes. Abundant Earth Foundation is also in partnership with the Rex Foundation and One Leaf Global and the musician David Satori. A small group of us have started the Sunrise Studio Collective, and our first studio just opened with Sumali, who's also part of the Perma Youth Network in the Kakuma refugee camp. And this is in partnership also with Perma Youth and really connecting the resources that we're able to help offer to either build new recording studios or partner with other ones that are existing or create mobile ones, and really doing this as a way to empower especially Indigenous communities and voices that are often not heard, and enhance their ability to share their creativity and their music with the world and their cultural preservation. We're working with a lot of Indigenous tribes, including in Brazil and in the United States and different refugee camps, and tying in permaculture and regenerative living practices and using this as a means to help educate and spread the word, and for the recording studios to be demonstration centers, incorporating different permaculture practices also. So yeah, we're really excited. I just came on this week as our development director to really help take this to the next level and see how the importance of musical expression and cultural preservation and sharing this with the world ties in also with the regenerative movement and just changing our way of living together and interacting with other humans and the planet. So it's super exciting.
I have a couple of questions actually for you both in this regard, because the studios, the music studios are this incredible piece, right? Because by being able to create your own media in your own language as well, you get to innovate as well as preserve. And so there's something really gorgeous about that.
Yeah. And also it's, a lot of these cultures have been oral cultures. And the storytelling that needs to continue comes so strongly through this. And it's a way of that sort of the intergenerational connectivity. And also it's a way too to really celebrate and create often, aid work or development work happens with sort of older people. Whereas when you actually look at the structure of a refugee settlement, like particularly the ones in East Africa, the average age is something like 15 to 17. So how are you communicating with that group and offering a possibility of education that is something that's tangible and that lands? And one of the things that we've heard is that, and I've even seen in some of the music videos, is as they're going through the camps, you can start to see all these kids following them and gathering up around them, and they're handing out seeds and tools and plants, and while they're making a music video, people are watching what's going on. It's an attractor. It's that invitation to play, as opposed to coming in and running a class. And like, what are those people doing? What are they saying? Why are they singing about that? What's that perma what? And it just starts to create the space for a conversation, a space for kind of, it looks like it's the fun place to be. It looks like the place where people are actually moving and doing something, and as I said before, stepping out of that space of despair and lack of hope. Like Somali, who you mentioned, Hannah, who's sort of championing the music studio project, he said, before I connected in with kind of this permaculture, perma-youth studio concept, he said, I was just kind of a kid on the streets. I didn't have any hope. I lose my friends all the time to suicide. There's just absolute despair and violence that's going on every day within these spaces. And another really important part is creating these centres that are safe places, particularly for young people and particularly for young women, where they can come and they have a sense of protection, and also for young mothers. I mean, during COVID, there was an explosion of young mothers for many reasons, and they need access to nutritious food and places where they can learn to care for the young and to have access to nutritious food that they can feed to their young children as well. So like from so many different angles, these projects are just, and some other place, like creating spaces within them that are called like peace places, like a place where you can come and ground. Like trauma is everywhere in these camps. And so how can you create a place that brings a sense of calm and peace and connectivity in a place where you're completely disconnected from the land and the community that you've been kind of landed in, and really have no control over your fate. In a way, you could be moved on to another place. You don't know if you're ever going back. You don't know if you're ever going forward. It's kind of that waiting place. I don't know if you remember the Dr. Seuss book, The Waiting Place. It's a waiting place. But how do you, I was talking to Rupert Reed recently from XR, and he's talking about, this concept of through-topia. So it's not about talking about the dystopia or utopia, but how do we get through this in a way that is rich and nourishing? And so what are the stories that we're telling about this through-topia? And I think these stories that are emerging from the refugee camp are through-topia stories, like how in trauma, how in displacement, we can find stories of connection, of love, of hope, of creativity, of innovation, of sharing out and reaching out into the world. Because what's happening in these camps is inspiring people everywhere around the world and creating change in how people are educating, how people are thinking, how people are running their business, how people are doing their art or their music, or, there is a story in this that is so rich and so important to be shared and told. So grab a hold of the link that I shared about his YouTube channel and share it out. Subscribe to it. Think about what ways you could weave and support. But do also keep in mind too that it's really easy to kind of offer things sometimes, and it takes a lot of people's time. But to remember that I really don't ever like saying the bottom line, and I was about to say that, but people need to eat. And so we can fill up a lot of space, with time and programs and projects, but people do need to be focused on where the next meal is coming from, how they can feed their household of 16 people a nourishing meal for the next day. So, that's why this grounding in the permaculture and the layering on of the culture is so important, and that integration throughout. Anyway, I think you get what I'm trying to say.
But yeah, all day. Sorry, and I didn't know you were still with us. Yeah. Come on in.
Oh, well, I was just gonna, if I could just touch and expand a little bit more, because she touched on so many of the key aspects that, the studios are bringing together, and the safe places and creating economic opportunity as well for these young people. And so, Somali, we're still trying to raise money to do the last touches on the studio, and then to be able to help with the continued operations there, but trying to create circular economy aspects of it as well. But I believe our website has launched, srstudios.org, and we have information there, and donating through there is a great way to help create the spreading of this empowerment through sharing these studios. So.
Before we close up here, I just wonder if I could ask you both to speak a little bit about this, what you just touched on more, which is the mothers and these young women. And if you feel that this also, through the recording studios, as much as through the permaculture work, this is something that really is going to empower them in a very special and a very important way.
Well, absolutely. I mean, what these young mothers are particularly looking for is one, a way to stay healthy themselves, to feed their families, and often feed a number of other people around them as well, because there's always the we culture. It's never the me culture there. So that it's not just one person. So creating that opportunity for that, but also to be able to grow enough or learn value adding skills or something else they can do to create that livelihood, so that it, if you're a refugee in Uganda, you get $3 a month from the United Nations, and that's it, $3 a month. It's not even $1 a day. So the rest of it, you have to try and find a way to make a living in a camp. And some of these camps, like in Tanzania, there's not even markets available to create. And the kind of food that gets delivered into these places is kind of like the worst food. It's kind of the last grade. It's old. It has no life force in it. It's probably GMO. It's some of it. Some friends of mine who've end up landing here in Australia say it's moldy. You often have to wash it first and dry it on the road. So, you know, feeding your family, creating livelihoods, but not just being stuck in that. The joy, the creativity, the connectivity, the sense of hope. And do you know something that is also really important that I hear is this connectivity between youth around the world, that you're not forgotten. Like, there's a lot of young women who tell me, look, one of the things I just love, like sometimes I can't talk, sometimes I can't connect because it's raining, my internet's not working, like we see Bemricky's dropped out. But the fact that they have friends around the world to talk about and to hear and share stories and to be heard and to know that there's people to reach out. Like often with this permaculture work too, like someone might be really sick. And so that's the kind of the people care part of this work is if someone's really suffering from malaria and needs some medicine and they don't have any money, then we also support communities in that way. And just to know that there's someone that you can reach out, your daughter doesn't have to die, you can get some medicine and support through this global network. So I think, you know, there's so many different, there's no one way of describing.
I just wanted to share also some of like the direct projects and seeing, these women during COVID, the Refarmers organization out of Canada worked in Uganda with what they called the grandmothers gardens, and helping these elderly women mostly that help care for so many orphans and creating enough food to feed all of them, and being able to sell at market. And it's just been so powerful that we're, especially with we started the Agroforestry Regenerative communities, and so looking at designing women and women's interaction, especially in the forest or in public spaces, designing specifically for them. So as you do your permaculture design, women is a sector. And so that means childcare and all of these different aspects, and being able to be safe as you go to tend the garden in the forest. And it's just this whole different mindset. And so we're really trying to work to change our agroforestry training to just specifically be working with women, training other women, getting the nurseries going, being able to transform their communities in a way that women in their connection to soil and seed and water and growing and all of this, we connect differently than men do. And especially in circumstances that are very challenging that so many of these women and families are dealing with.
Yeah, I just wanted to add some direct examples of what I've heard in support of what you're just saying there, Hannah, and the importance of agroforestry and perennial trees within the camps too. And it's part of what all of these projects are really trying to do, is because often the women who have to go a long way to collect the timber, one is there's the environmental degradation that's happening and causing the droughts and the floodings and all of that. But the other is that if they have to travel far, and sometimes across the borders into different places, they're incredibly unsafe. A lot of women are attacked, killed, raped, just to go out to get the fuel to cook their food for their family. And then there's also the, in a lot of places too, unless some of the groups outside of the camps, unless the young women have personal sanitary pads or whatever, they can't actually go to school. So a lot of them are losing a week, a month, every time, they get their period. So we've, one of the things I started with really in the early days of this was working with seamstress permaculture people who were taking seamstress scraps and making these sanitary pad kits and taking them into the schools. And as they were there talking about nutrition and then connecting that to gardening and connecting that to getting things happening in the schools. And, what I think really started me with that too was the fact that she was saying that often the girls will go to the stores to try and buy these pads, but they can't afford them. And because they're so expensive, they end up keeping them in too long. They get problems, health problems. And often too, she said, well, they're doing favors for the shopkeepers so that they can get the pads, which ends up in, early pregnancies and STDs and HIV. It's such a simple thing. It just shocked me how much I took for granted just being able to meet my basic needs. And so permaculture impacts that too when we take this whole systems approach. So it's from personal well-being to caring for your child, caring for your family, caring for your community, caring for land, caring for the regeneration of forests and reconnecting, because it hurts when you see the forest chopped down or the last tree chopped down, but you don't have an option because you got to eat. So there's all of these, it just keeps expanding the realms of the possibilities when you start to come in with this regenerative, connected, richly cultural, accessible approach that is designed and developed and determined by the community. So it's not like, oh, here's a program, you do it. It's like, well, what are your needs? How do you want to make this work? Let's evolve and coordinate this together and support you to do what makes sense to you in a language that makes sense to you, using resources that make sense to you and examples that make sense to you. And so that's kind of been our approach. So if you'd like to support, again, I'll just mention again, it's the ethosfoundation.org.au, and we send 100% across. If you know people who are in this situation who'd like to learn permaculture, to send them across to Permaculture Education Institute. However, I also do need to say, in order to do all this work, I do need some people to pay for being in the course. So if you want to become a permaculture educator, that's also where to do that. The Perma Youth, that's permayouth.org. And we've got the Youth in Permaculture Prize that's going to be launched out through the Ethos Foundation starting Saturday, 30th of April. Yeah.
I just want to thank you both so much for being here, and this has been really lovely. And thank you to Bemriki for having been here as well. I think that when we talk about whole systems permaculture, right, that we are talking about whole people permaculture, and that's really what is shining here for us. So thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for sharing the on the ground aspects of what's actually happening, and let's move forward towards more resonance, more music, and maybe even an album from the mothers would be amazing if that's possible. So,
anything is possible. I know we need to wrap up, but it's like, the studio that they started in Kakuma is called Hope Studio, because that they've been hoping for this for so many years, and that's like what they have to live off of is their hope. And so it's just so beautiful, and they're tying together with teaching about compost toilets and planting food forests around those, and all of these amazing solutions tying into it together, and really amplifying women's voices. So it's so exciting, and we have so much to learn from these amazing, resilient people. Right. Thank you. Thanks so much for hosting.
Yeah, thank you for hosting. Thank you for having us and for this incredible, amazing event. It's just so remarkable.
It's always an honor to be related to the Design Science Studio and all the amazing people that are part of it. So Roxy, love you, and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all, you fabulous humans here. So as we take that in, I know I'm taking it in, we're going to shift. And as we move into what is happening, right, as Hannah and Maura just explained and affirmed for us, as we move into the positive pieces of the world and the puzzle coming together that we know are happening, we're also going to recognize that we're still also holding some grief, and that we're also holding the healing that needs to happen. And these sort of alternate between each other in all these different ways. And by going into a space right now where we can hold, we're going to walk into a space with Veronica and with Liv. into a workshop for how to hold earth grief. So I'll just give you a little bit about the folks that are coming in with us now. So Veronica is a visionary architect with more than a decade of experience in the field of sustainable development. She's a land listening, ecstatic mystic inspired by ancestral wisdom, who is building a world that works for all the tools, with all the tools of sacred architecture and regenerative community development. I'm just going to stop and say, as a testament, this is all true. I've experienced her mystical qualities, and I am excited for the rest of us to do it today together. Veronica also does hold the world's first ever master's in geodesign, which she is using to develop innovative technological approaches for participatory urban planning and ecological urbanism worldwide. Veronica's work is unique in the way that she integrates the visible and invisible sides of architecture to create living systems and holistic designs. Welcome, Veronica. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Liv. Liv is a multidisciplinary project manager and systems thinker who works within and outside of existing systems to nurture their capacity towards ecological, social, and individual healing. Since realizing at 5 that humans were destroying the home of their beloved stuffed sloth, Liv, sorry, that one kind of got me. Liv has been seeking to understand and address the roots of Liz has been seeking to understand and address the roots of the climate crisis. Now with training in biology, systems thinking, regenerative agriculture, and collective trauma, Liv uses this understanding of relationships to act at key leverage points to facilitate collective project ownership and growth. Wow. Wow. So I'm going to hand it off to both of these lovely people to welcome us into this workshop for holding grief.
Thank you, Mariette. This is a really beautiful moment when we get to recognize the theme of our day, regeneration and celebration, and link it to something that we don't normally connect with celebration, and that is grief. One of the indigenous wisdom keepers in this space of grief work today is Marcel Pritchett. And he says that you can't have grief without praise, because grief is the celebration of the love that you hold in your heart. So as we invite you all into this space of regeneration and celebration with your grief, let us be in remembrance of the way that grieving is celebrating. And I hope that this topic will find roots in your regenerative lifestyle, in your practice of land listening, in your practice of self-regeneration and healing, because this beautiful offering that Liv and I have been cultivating for you is meant to help feel in order to heal. So we'll be sharing some practices that have copyrighted sound and songs, so we won't be able to live stream the whole thing, but we'll be with you as long as we can on our live streaming platforms. And just keep in mind that this is only one part of a very powerful day that is still unfolding and emerging. The rest of today has a lot of gifts to offer you. So please stay tuned. And remember that we have 3 more powerful days after this as well. So thank you so much for being a part of this day of regeneration and celebration. Thank you so much for your support of the Design Science Studio and all of our partners. And we invite you more deeply now into this space of earth grief. And I would like to introduce you to Liv, and the beautiful founder of Emergence of Heart and the creator of many powerful things, including this workshop. So thank you very much, Liv, for inviting me to hold this space with you.
And I invite you to bring us more deeply into this space of celebration, praise, and grief and regeneration.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming and joining me on this workshop. Definitely wouldn't be able to go as deeply if I was doing this work alone. And that's kind of the heartbeat of Emergence of Heart. But before I talk about Emergence of Heart for a split second, so my name's Liv. I use they, them pronouns. I'm currently located on Mohican and Munsee Lenape lands, otherwise known as Upper New York State. This kind of as my background, my bio was illustrating, I've been on this like path that I don't really know what it is since I was 5, when I learned about the climate crisis and trying to understand the home of this stuffed sloth, so the rainforest, and then learning about deforestation and the climate crisis. And since then, there's been so many teachers along the way that have kind of guided me through biology, through biomimicry, through systems thinking, into collective trauma, into now doing a workshop on collective grief. And as a background in biology, wouldn't expect me to be winding up here. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that I am very much a beginner and kind of just like following my heart along this journey in this path. So thank you all for holding space with me and Veronica. And thank you again, Veronica, for holding space with me, because you bring a lot of wisdom that I do not have. So about Emergence of Heart. So I entered the design side studio thinking I was going to do a short film, which I'm still working on as part of Emergence of Heart with the title Emergence of Heart. But in fundraising for the film, I created this global eco drag show with 2 fabulous drag kings based in Taiwan, and realized that Emergence of Heart is a little broader than just a short film, and it's more collaborative as a short film would be. And so the intention of this workshop as kind of the next event post the drag show is all around the same idea, which was at the heart of the short film, which is based on my own kind of coming of age story of learning about the climate crisis, about opening up spaces for people to feel in order to heal, and reflecting back our collective heart. And that's inspired by nature and the concepts of emergence found in nature. And so I want to thank you all for being here, because emergence can't be emergent without people, other people. It's about the dynamic that takes place when people come together, or when beings come together, I should say. So the intention of the workshop for me is to create a space for us to get emotional together, and us to feel some things that maybe we aren't able to feel when we're alone. I know that last week I was in immense climate grief and I just numbed out, like I couldn't hold it myself. And so I want to turn back the mic over to Veronica and to share a little bit of your own experience of why you're here and why this workshop is meaningful for you.
Thank you, Liv. I'm kind of a feelings nerd. I have a book called The Language of Emotions, which I've just been poring over for years and just diving deeply into what it means to really feel. And I've also been trained in something called somatic experiencing, which is the work of Dr. Peter Levine, and gotten some really powerful tools to apply first aid when it comes to processing trauma. And this has been a necessity because I've been on my own pain journey through a lot of awakening to deep repressed traumas, all the different kinds that you can think of, really. And also serving trauma survivors who are recovering from complex PTSD, which is something that I've been on a healing journey for the last 4 years. So when Liv shared about their work with Emergence of Heart, I was obviously very motivated to support them. And then through the studio over the last 9 months, we just created this really powerful bond around the need to feel and go through our feelings in order to heal, and that we could do this on behalf of the collective. So I'm here to support all of you and to support Liv. I'm a resource in terms of triggering and overwhelm if you're moving into a feeling of crisis. If this workshop brings up difficult emotions which feel too strong to handle, I am directly, explicitly inviting you to privately message me in the chat, and to know that I will be nothing but a safe witness and a safe space for what you're going through. And I can help you get support if this becomes too overwhelming, because that is the reality. A lot of us don't feel safe with our emotions, don't feel safe to really feel our feelings because they're so big. And that is why I felt called to help hold this space, because we really need grief. We really need our sorrow, our rage, these emotions that we've been trained to repress and push away. So I'm here for you, all of you, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming. We have a very beautiful program here. So that said, I'll just share a little bit about our Zoom etiquette. I'm going to make it so that in order to speak, you have to raise your hand. So we're going to make it so that participants cannot unmute themselves, just so that you know, and also, you know, for your own voice, but also for your own safety, because sometimes it can be really disruptive when folks pop in with their voice. And I want you to know that that's not going to happen here. So I've unchecked that box now. And if you wish to speak, all you need to do is go into the participants tab and click raise hand. Actually, I think it's under the reactions tab now. And it's also optional to have your camera on. We invite all of you to come as you are. If you want to be witnessed and seen in this practice, in this process, please do have your camera on. You're welcome to, but it's not required. And we know you're here and we're grateful you're here. There will be a part at the end where we invite you to turn your camera on and feel witnessed. And it's not necessary. Again, it's optional. So there's a few recommendations as well for what you can bring to this space. We encourage you to bring something to write on, and to also bring water. It can be water to drink or water to touch. There'll be an interactive part with that. I also invite you to bring a candle and allow that to be part of your space. Fire is a powerful transmutational energy and can be a great ally. You're also invited to bring tools for catharsis, whether that's a pillow that you're gonna use to hit things with, or a towel. That can be a really satisfying tool because towels have some weight and heft to them. So we're going to use that later on. And you'll also be invited to have sound privacy so that you can sound if that's helpful in your emotional process. Basically, if you can, go somewhere where others won't hear you, and that will facilitate your process. And then finally, it'll be great if you can have a space to lie down, preferably on the floor, because we'll be getting into our bodies during part of this as well. Other things that you might enjoy are presencing the elements of earth and air. For me, I use incense to presence air and sage to presence earth. You might like to bring something else with you that represents earth, because this is a practice of learning to empathize with the earth. And of course, none of these are actually required. You already have everything you need inside of you in order to move through your emotions, but these tools can be helpful. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to drop them in the chat. And let us continue on.
Beautiful.
Oh, I'd also like to presence the ancestors of this land, the Wetar people of Costa Rica. Thank you.
Thank you. So something that one of the teachers that has inspired me in feeling called to do this workshop was Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, who, when asked, how do we save the world? How do we save the earth? Responded with this quote, which I always, can you now see that? What we most need to do is to hear within ourselves the sound of the earth crying. And that piggybacks or complements what we're here today to do. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of where we're going, so y'all can kind of feel along into the scaffolding, the wireframe of what we've created for you all today. So I'll share a little bit more, even though in my bio it's kind of already come up and I've already mentioned it, but I'll share a little bit more of my story, invite you to share your intention of coming and making space for this session. Then we're going to begin to move through stages and phases of grief. So Veronica just mentioned some of the different items that you might want to bring into your space to help you work through those. Part of that's going to be witnessing collective earth wounds. Then we're going to move into feeling into our rage and our anger, feeling into sorrow and sadness and losses, acknowledging and reconnecting to earth and atonement, then being received by the earth, making a commitment through collective intent. Oh, that's redundant. Then we're gonna move into tuning back into the collective community, listening to some wise words, again from Thich Nhat Hanh, and then coming back together into kind of a decompression space, share back space. So that's kind of the journey we're embarking on today. So to start into the collective intention setting, a part of my journey has been a lot around numbing out and avoiding these feelings that I have about the earth. I remember having a really deep love of the earth when I was younger. And when learning about the violence and the violence that human beings were doing to the earth, I lost kind of relationship in part with the rest of humanity and was just constantly questioning people. And that also led me to feeling really disconnected from those around me and escaping into my head. And so it's been fabulous working with Veronica, who's very embodied, because I'm very up here. But that was kind of the pattern that I was seeing around me. That was like this wound that I was seeing around a lot of Western American culture that I was like born and raised in. And that was kind of my intention. And at first in making this short film is wanting to kind of highlight my own story, because I was seeing it as a fractal of this collective story. And part of the healing work of connecting to the earth, because the earth will always be there, is healing and like feeling into this pain. And the feelings of like the earth, since the earth will always be there, what actually are we mourning? What actually are we grieving? Are we grieving the existence of humanity, of human beings on this earth? Are we grieving just acts of violence that have taken place? And so that these questions in part are ones that I'm constantly asking, and kind of the other side of emergence of heart, which is just like, I want to be in community with these questions. And so I invite you all to write into the chat why this work is important to you, or what your story is, or what brought you here today, why you're carving space out today to feel into this space. And I'll leave it to, I'll say first my intention out loud, but my intention here is to share my full heart with you all. I feel like my feelings around the climate earth stuff, I keep behind a wall. So my intention is to open that wall up and to look at and acknowledge ancestral wounds. And I invite you all to share, and Veronica will facilitate the reflection of you all.
Thank you for leading by example, Liv, with the fullness of heart that you walk with. Feels so brave to really invite these feelings. And as I start to share my intention, please, everyone, let us know, what is your intention for being here? Why is this important? And I'll share that for me, grief has been a constant companion in my life, and I feel very, very deeply. I feel the sorrow of the earth. I feel the sorrow of the people around me so deeply, and often I didn't know how to cope with that, and so I would disassociate completely from my body. And it was a long journey to come home to my body, and it took a lot of work. And I had a lot of wonderful teachers like Thich Nhat Hanh helping me along the way. And so my intention is to share the fruits of my practice with all of you. And I believe this work is important because anytime we shut down any emotion in ourselves, we shut down our ability to feel altogether. So when we shut down grief, we shut down our ability to feel happy. And we really have this opportunity to embrace all of our emotions now. And I'll just begin to share out what's in the chat. And if anybody feels the need to speak and be heard, just raise your hand and we'll unmute one or two of you, time permitting. So John is here mourning innocent forests and people. Mariana is here to be conscious about my environment and the importance of being part of a community where we can look at that if we already create this chaotic and corrupt world, we're able to use our potential and energy to make things different too. Oaken is here because we must learn to embrace and release grief and support others in doing the same. If we are to co-maintain, co-integrate, and collaborate to continue building a world that works for all of life, this is what we must do. Ima is here mourning the loss of those animals, trees, and plants who are not with us, mourning the relationships with them, the dragonflies, the calm wind. Mariette is here mourning the loss that accompanies change. So powerful, Mariette. Change is the only constant in our lives. And if we can learn to surf the waves of change with grace and gratitude and celebration, then our journeys will be that much easier. And as Oaken has shared, we can truly collaborate and co-create a world that works for all of life. For it is this emotion that is actually helping us create. And thank you all for bringing your powerful intentions here. I see Shanita is here to help heal deep ancestral wounds and to help bring attention and awareness to how we can co-create a greater community of healing the earth and all beings. Bless, Shanita. Thank you for this powerful intention. So all of these words are really pointing to this shared intention, which is to acknowledge what's been lost and feel the pain in order to take care of the wounds. The pain can be an ally, which helps us see where there has been wounding. And this is our opportunity together. So now I'd like to offer us an opportunity to really acknowledge that we have needs which haven't been met, and that this is a world which is full of just unjust, exploitative systems, that all of these environmental problems we're witnessing are actually social problems, and that the racism and colonialization and capitalism and income inequalities, all of the inequalities are oppressing us and our ability to really get our needs met. And I think all of us are here because we're done with that. We've come to grieve these injustices. And in order to really let go of these antiquated systems, which have no more gifts to offer us, they've gotten us so far, and we've really outgrown them and are in this conversation in this community because we're ready to build something different. We're here in order to do that, and this grieving process can allow us to move forward. And in order to do that, sometimes we have to look behind us and look at our slowest moving parts and really feel the places that have been injured. And so I'd like to invite Liv to guide us through a process in order to do that, and take it away.
Thank you. So invite everyone to close their eyes if that feels comfortable for you. And just take a moment to come into your body, to come into your imaginative body. I invite you to feel into these wounds, into these intentions, into these acknowledged unmet needs. And acknowledge the wounds to the earth and the wounds to our collective psyche or soul or spirit, or whatever language that you would like to use in reference to what has been wounded. And throughout this visualization, I invite you to keep the feelings that you're feeling, just acknowledge them. Don't necessarily move them into your body at the moment. So we're going to hold them at a distance and just allow for them to come up. As you're feeling into these wounds, follow them down the road of history and just witness them. Witness each generation of humanity, the repeating patterns, tracing the wound that you're deciding to follow through generation after generation of human being on this earth, going back farther and farther. Witness the perhaps fractal pattern of this wound, maybe getting more and more full in its intensity as you're going further and further back. And we're going to take a moment to recognize that wound pattern that you're tracing and bring in the relationships. What's the impact that this wound is having in interaction with other human beings? How is this wound to the psyche, soul, spirit, or whatever language you're using? How is it impacting the non-human beings? What's the quality of the relationships as this wound is ricocheting and affecting these different types of beings? Recognize the impact on the more than human beings. Now draw attention to the impact of these patterns on the earth body. Now we're going to start moving back closer to where we are now in time. So starting to move forward in time, seeing the impact of these patterns and these wounds on the earth body. Generation after generation. Just witness the feelings that are coming up. Trace them down. And allow whatever feelings to come up, to come up.
And as you journey through the landscape of your inner world, I invite you to search for the scent of anger, the smell of rage wafting to you on the winds of change. Many of us feel fear when anger makes itself present. You can gently place a hand on your heart and acknowledge any anger that you might be feeling with great compassion and say, "Welcome, my friend. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here for you now." This is an invitation to find safety in your heart, in yourself, and let the anger begin to rise. Acknowledging that this is a healthy emotion in response to transgressions, boundaries which have been broken. Anger is an ally which helps us to create safety in ourselves. So I just want you to feel liberated now as we move into this next space. And as you feel ready, you can slowly and gently in your own time find your way out of your seat and into your body. And you might like to surround yourself with your tools for catharsis as we are about to share some sound to help us journey with anger, to journey with rage. Rage is the free-flowing state of anger and can be overwhelming at times. So please take good care of yourself, but know that it is a powerful ally and friend to your process of grieving. So I just will give you a few more moments to find yourself solid and notice how you are feeling when anger is present. Also going to invite our facilitator, Bliss, to stop the live stream so that we can play this music.